Nintendo's biggest console launch ever has arrived, and it's already become one of its most controversial. The Nintendo Switch 2 is finally here, and while it's absolutely dominating in sales, it's also drawing intense scrutiny over display issues, overheating problems, restricted accessories, digital only backlash, and even a legal battle in Brazil. Welcome back to Atarion News. In this video, we'll walk you through the complete story so far, from its early hype and launch day numbers to the ongoing criticisms and consumer concerns. This is your full update on Nintendo Switch 2 as of July 2025. Let's start with the launch. The Switch 2 officially hit global markets on June 5th, 2025. In just 4 days, it sold over 3.5 million units worldwide, making it the fastest selling Nintendo console of all time. The huge momentum was fueled by the launch of Mario Kart World, a day one title that was bundled with many systems and became an instant system seller. But as fans celebrated, some eyebrows were raised at the pricing. The base model came in at 449 US dollars, with game bundles pushing it to 499. That pricing prompted criticism, especially from families and fans in developing countries who felt that Nintendo may be pricing younger players out of the ecosystem. Nintendo president Shuntaro Furukawa acknowledged the concern but stood by the price, saying it reflects the experience offered. So, what exactly is that experience? The Switch 2 does bring several major updates. First, it introduced new social features like game chat, which allows up to 12 players to join live voice and video calls during play. Game Share makes local and online co op easier than ever, and existing Switch games can now receive free performance updates, including better frame rates, sharper visuals, and basic HDR support. The Joy-Cons have also been updated. They feel more tactile and slightly more ergonomic, but as we'll see shortly, they are not without their issues. Despite the feature list, hardware concerns quickly began surfacing. One of the biggest complaints is the screen. Nintendo opted for an 8-inch LCD panel instead of an OLED, and the results have disappointed many. The screen suffers from significant ghosting, with pixel response times ranging from 17 and 50 milliseconds, depending on the game. For fast paced titles like Splatoon or Mario Kart, that means visible blur and motion trails. Reviewers have also pointed out that the HDR support is limited, with peak brightness topping out around 420 nits, well below modern standards. There's also no valuable refresh rate or high refresh support, which limits performance even further. The decision to go with an LCD was reportedly based on cost and battery performance, but many players and critics see it as a step backward. Then there's the overheating issue. Several users have reported that the Switch 2 runs hot, especially when docked. Some consoles have crashed during gameplay. Others have experienced loud fan noise or even full system shutdowns. This happens even in relatively undemanding games like Pokemon or Splatoon. A firmware update in late June improved thermal control slightly, but many are still calling for a proper hardware fix. And yes, Joy-Con drift is still a thing. While the new Joy-Cons feel better to hold, they do not use Hall effect sensors. Early teardowns have revealed that the sticks are still prone to wear over time. Worse, the parts are glued and soldered together, making repairs difficult and risky. Repairability scores remain low, and after the original Switch's notorious drift issues, many fans were hoping for a more durable solution. That didn't happen. But if that wasn't frustrating enough, Nintendo has added a new twist to the hardware: encrypted USB C ports. The Switch 2 uses a custom lockdown USB C connection that only works with officially approved accessories. That means third party docks, displays, and even AR glasses like X-Real are all blocked. Most unofficial accessories simply won't work unless they've been whitelisted. As of now, only one dock, The Antank S3 Max has managed to get around the encryption by reverse engineering the handshake system. Accessory makers like JSOX and XReal have suspended support for the Switch 2, saying it's too difficult to build around Nintendo's restrictions. Many fans see this as an overreach, a move that limits innovation and forces users into Nintendo ecosystem for even basic accessories. The console has also stirred controversy around game ownership. Nintendo has quietly introduced something called game key cards, physical cartridges that contain only a download code, not the actual game data. These are mostly used by third party publishers. The result, you buy what looks like a physical game, but it's actually digital only. That means if the eShop ever goes down, or if licensing changes, that physical copy becomes useless. Preservationists and collectors are already raising the alarm, calling it a slippery slope toward a fully digital, license based future with no guarantee of ownership. But perhaps the most aggressive change has been in Nintendo's stance on piracy. The Switch 2 includes stronger security systems, and Nintendo now reserves the right to remotely ban consoles that are caught running unauthorized or pirated software. One of the main targets is the MIG flashcard, a modding tool used to run backups and homebrew software. In Brazil, Nintendo's enforcement actions triggered a formal complaint from the country's consumer protection agency, arguing that remote bans may violate ownership rights. The case is ongoing, but it highlights the growing tension between platform control and user freedom. Even the sales channels haven't been smooth. In the US, Switch 2 stock remains tight. That's partly due to high demand, but also because Nintendo reportedly pulled the console from Amazon after unauthorized third party resellers began offering discounts. As of now, Amazon no longer lists the Switch 2 in the US, leaving Best Buy, Target, and Walmart as the only major retailers. Meanwhile, in the UK, the console is readily available through the My Nintendo store, Very, and Currys. And let's not forget the software complaints. While first party games like Mario Kart World are dominating sales, some strange decisions are irritating longtime fans. For example, the random track option in Mario Kart World's multiplayer was removed, forcing players to choose specific tracks or accept repeat votes. It's a small change, but it's been widely criticized for hurting variety in online play. Also, raising eyebrows in Nintendo's decision to charge 9.99 for something called the Welcome Tour, a simple tutorial app that explains how to use the Switch 2. Many players feel this should have been free, especially for new users. Finally, sales of third party games outside a few hits like Cyberpunk 2077 have been underwhelming. Critics blame the high price of new titles, confusion around game key cards, and the fact that Nintendo's own games are dominating attention. So, what's next? Nintendo has promised more firmware updates in the coming months. These are expected to improve fan noise control, thermal performance, and HDR calibration. Some older games will also receive additional performance patches. But as of now, there's no official announcement of a Switch 2 OLED model or hardware revision, though many fans are already hoping for one. So, to wrap things up, the Nintendo Switch 2 is both a massive success and a lightning rod for criticism. It's outselling everything in its path, and its hybrid features are more polished than ever. But it also drawn fire for its display, thermal design, accessory restrictions, repairability, anti piracy measures, and the digital only direction. It's Nintendo at its most powerful and its most polarizing. Thanks for listening to this deep dive breakdown from Atarion News Channel. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, share, and let us know in the comments, is the Switch 2 worth the hype or has Nintendo gone too far? See you guys until next time.